Okay, welcome to the Real Bodybuilding Podcast. I'm here with somebody I wanted to talk to for a little while. He seems to be a consummate professional in the industry and not just on the stage. So I was happy to have him on. And Mr. Steve Kuclo, how are you?
Good, Fouad. Thank you for having me on, man. I see you doing big things, man, and it's good to have some people being very proactive in getting some other voices out there. And I think people really enjoy hearing, watching this kind of stuff from a different source than, say, just a magazine or something. So it's super cool, man. Thank you.
Yeah. No, I appreciate you coming on. I like the feedback I've been getting is that people enjoy that, like, it's just two guys talking and they get to kind of hear their favorite pro or just pros in general kind of have a conversation about business and life and all how that works, right? Because on Instagram, you only have like a little caption. Nobody even reads it.
Correct.
They can look at the photo and keep going.
Yeah.
So I think it's I think people like to hear a little bit of an extended version of who you really are. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely.
And I think it's also good that we kind of take back our voice from the people that are like just making shit up all the time online. So
Correct.
They get to hear it straight from you now. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So,
no, totally.
So the first thing I wanted to get into, because I know you're a car freak, is what's going on with your cars, man?
So you just so I know what's going on with yours. I see yours all cleaned up. You driving, you got the Z06 rolling.
Yeah, I got the Z06. It's a 2017. I'm hanging on to it until the new one comes out, and then I have
a little theory on that, just because what you have right now is going to be one of the. Is it an auto or 6-speed or 7-speed car?
Come on, you really have to ask me that.
So you got a stick?
It's a manual. Yeah, it's a manual. Okay. Yeah.
Well, think about it. All the new vets are going to be auto, from what I hear.
I know.
And it's going to be one of the last front engine Corvettes. So you holding on to that might be valuable down the road.
I thought about that. Hey, Steve. Yeah, no, I thought that. I thought, you know what, this might be a collector's edition. So, but I beat the shit out of that car, and I put I put a whole bunch of miles on it. So I don't think anybody's gonna want it.
So. Yeah. You can sell it as the Haas car.
Yeah, I just sell it as
the Haas edition.
Yeah, that's right. No, no, I'm waiting for the 2020 to come out, the Z06 version.
Yeah.
I think they're going to go back to a manual because I think people are going to complain about it.
I think they are, just because there's really nothing as fun and exciting than driving a car and shifting gears.
Well, it's American muscle, right? I mean, it's the way they do it. So I'm hoping when the Z06 models come out or the ZR1 models come out, they'll be in a manual. So I got that, and then I got the Yukon Denali. But I got it all jacked up with like big ass tires on it, and shit.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I always say, like, being a car guy and into bodybuilding, I'm like kind of in all the guy things. I like guns, I like cars, and I like building muscle. So it's like those three things are all three expensive hobbies, and all are. It's the bodybuilding or the cars and guns to me are like a good separation or break from thinking about food and bodybuilding and training and what I have to do. So I enjoy the car culture. Yeah. It's different but similar because you still see it's like it's a huge culture and it's worldwide, but at the same time, like the niches of people that are like really popular or shops that are really famous and stuff, it's kind of small, just kind of like bodybuilding. It's a huge, fitness is a huge community, but you think about like say the IFBB or NPC or the organizations are just kind of it's pretty small still. Yeah. In retrospect, but no, big car guy. I think my daily is my F250.
That's right.
I absolutely love.
You know what I love about cars in the same way as bodybuilding is, let's say your F250, for example, you get that thing. Yeah. And you do something to it, and it's just never done right. You just keep doing stuff to it, and it's just kind of like it's kind of like bodybuilding. Like you put like a little muscle on, you're like, I need a little more here, a little more here. Yeah. And I feel like it's kind of the same thing with the cars. It's never ending. It's like never perfect.
It's never ending. It's kind of that money pit that's never ending, but at the same time, there's an enjoyment to it of that never being satisfied too. There's like, wow, we got to be a little bit faster, or we got to be a little bit bigger. It's that same kind of thing. So I agree with you on that. But, I've been working on my 03. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
No, I said, I have my Cobra I've been working on for a while.
Yeah.
As you know, like this projects take a while when you kind of start over and to do them right. So, I kind of do it. It's not like a full-time job sitting to rebuilding my stuff, but I kind of do it as, get a little extra money or kind of some extra time, or when I'm in between shows and I'm like, you know what, I don't want to think about the gym. I want to get underneath my car, work on some stuff. Yeah. And that's when I kind of really buckle down and put some time into it. But that's going to be like my, let's go hurt some feelings car. It's going to be the 1200-ish horsepower, which was,
is it really?
Before, so
is it really?
Yeah. It's going to be a serious, it'll be a serious car. And then, another project working with a buddy, restoring like a 93 Mustang and kind of doing a coyote swap on it.
Like a notchback or what?
Yeah. 93 notch. And I'm doing we decided to do that new Avalanche gray color that Ford has, like the GT350s.
That Nardo gray, like.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful color. That Terminator you have, the 03 Cobra.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe you still have that. That actually makes me respect you even more because it's such a classic car.
Yeah.
And it's like the fact that you held on to it knowing it's a classic is like, most guys would have got rid of it and moved on to something else.
By now, you know what I mean? They want the newest, latest and greatest. But, it's kind of like that. I have that affinity. I always go toward every time I see that car, I'm like, man, it's like the car I grew up with, seeing it in high school and like that, I'm always like, I always want that car, and then when I finally got one, I was like, I just love it. Every time I see it, I fall in love with it. And even though it's not the best driving car, it's not the newest technology. And, but it's just one of those cars that's like nostalgic for my era.
I used to sit in high school and I used to draw the front end of that exact car.
I love it.
If you look at my high school books, it's like over and over and over again, just like every page got the front end of that Mustang on it.
Exactly that, or I'd always draw the little Cobra logo. It's hilarious to say that.
A lot of people don't know that, but that's where you got your nickname, isn't it?
That kind of is. Was in a car club when I lived in Detroit, and everybody kind of had their own. It was a Mustang club, so everybody had like their name was correlated with their car, or they had it'd be like Cobra Steve or Celine, whatever. Like the guys would have each other's names, but there was too many Steves we had in our group. Yeah. So then I had my forum name for the car clubs. I just used King Snake. So that's what kind of stuck before really the bodybuilding forums got really hot.
Yeah. So. It works. It's a good nickname. So I want to ask you, I want to switch gears a bit because one of the things I noticed as one of your peers kind of looking on, you seem to kind of be successful at all the different aspects of bodybuilding that you get into. Like you obviously you're doing very well on the stage and you do very well on the business side with your clothing company. And you have nice cars. And are you still firefighting too or no?
Actually, I took a step back from that about 2.5 years ago. Okay. I still have my status with the city. So I'm not like, I've fully retired, but it's kind of like a leave where I have up to 10 years to go back. So if something happened where I wanted to go back, I would, but the schedule and demand of the job, it was getting kind of away from what I really wanted to pursue. And, we got a small window of opportunity in bodybuilding of say a 10-year window that if we really want to be successful at it and capitalize on it while we're kind of at the peak of what we're doing, you got to be all in on it. And, it's like, you don't want to, I'm not to talk bad, but you don't kind of want to do what Ronnie Coleman, like the guy just focused on competing when he competed. Now he's trying to do all the other business stuff now. Yeah. We try to do that now when we're, kind of strike while the fire's hot. Yeah. And then, later down the road, still be involved, but not trying to, hustle around the world and kill myself, traveling all the time.
See, I'm glad you said that because a lot of some of my listeners are aged is 18 to 45 or whatever. So a lot of the younger kids that are coming up probably want to be bodybuilders. This is probably a good lesson for them because I made that mistake myself is, I dabbled in the t-shirt thing a little bit here and there. And I did those. I did some online coaching and stuff, but I never really, really tried to like hone the business side of it. So I feel like it's a good thing that you're on. It's a good thing that you're talking about that because a lot of kids don't realize that what you're doing now is what's going to help them when the stage is gone.
Exactly. And I used, my time as a firefighter and working for like 10 years for the city and and doing that to really kind of fund what I'm doing now. Like so many people, young guys that want to get into the sport are like, man, I want to turn pro and I want to do this. Well, there's definitely a misconception that people think it's like they get like these NFL or basketball or baseball contracts when they get their pro card. That's not the case. Like, it's just kind of like, guess what? It's starting over. It's like going from middle school to high school. Nothing really changes except you're at the bottom of the totem pole.
I remember when I went from grade school to high school, I didn't get no girls in grade school. And when I went to high school, everybody was like, man, there's so many girls in high school. When you get to high school, the girls are just going to like crawl over you. And I'm like, okay, fucking awesome. I can't wait to get to high school.
Yeah.
I get to high school and there's nothing. There's just nothing. So it's kind of like that. Like you wait, and when you're an amateur, people are like, man, once you turn pro, you're going to get this big ass contract. And you turn pro and the fucking reality hits and you're like, oh shit. There's not so much.
I still need to work a full-time job to do this other full-time job.
That's right. Well, especially now, like nowadays, like back in the day, if you won the USAs, if you won the USAs, a company would come along and be like, you know what, we want you. Nowadays, you could win the USAs, and if you don't have all these other things like social media and this and that, the company might not even look at you. I mean, I know a company that looked at Steve Lorius. I don't know if you know Steve Lorius is the classic physique guy. He incredible physique, and he to me he's almost one of the best classic physique guys you can kind of look at. But at the time he didn't have any social media, and the company that wanted to sign him was like, he doesn't have any social media, we're going to pass, which in my mind was a big mistake. But it just goes to show you, like, that guy with such a physique and such an amazing, still got passed on. So
I think the social media is a great thing, but I think people put all their eggs into that. In companies and everything. Like, you get a lot of exposure and business driven from social media. But if you have somebody that's very marketable, that could be photographed well, that could speak well, that can be a representative for a brand, it doesn't necessarily mean that they have to have the craziest followings.
I agree.
And another thing I'm going to say too is, a lot of followings that people have, I just was reading an article yesterday that somebody sent me, that a lot of these celebrities and people out there with huge followings, half of them are fake. Half of them are bought followers. So it's like, is that really the credible way to judge somebody on what they can provide for your business? I mean, that's really a good question.
Well, I actually have another scenario with a company that signed somebody with like 500,000 followers, and they promised them the world, and they paid them all this money. And it was a bust. Like they didn't, because they were tracking their sales, right? Like when when companies give you codes, they're tracking what you're bringing back to them.
Correct.
And they weren't bringing in any money. And so, and I try to tell owners that when they ask me about who's hot right now. I say, look, just because somebody has 1 million followers or 500,000 followers, doesn't mean they're buying they're money spending followers. They could be following just because they're good looking or something. It doesn't.
Exactly.
It doesn't mean they're credible and they believe their advice or any of that kind of stuff. So it goes to what you're saying is, you have to have more than just the numbers.
Correct. We look at that too with Booty Queens doing stuff for my wife's company. There's a lot of girls out there with a huge following. And we look a little bit deeper if we're going to talk about maybe working with them and doing something. It's if a girl's obviously attractive, it's going to attract guys. And then if they're posting mostly, hey, here's my protein shake between my boobs, like, no chick's gonna see that and be like, I really admire her boobs and I'm gonna buy that protein shake. The guy's gonna be like, oh, that's cool, that's hot, whatever, but they're not gonna buy that protein shake either. So
that's right. I got your point totally, man. It's something I think it's starting to change though, because if you look at the landscape, a year ago, it was all asses. It was just all ass. And now a lot of girls realize that's not the way to go, and they're doing more workout videos and stuff like that. So I think the landscape is like, people are starting to learn, like, you have to have some credibility. You can't just be, So
you gotta have some. I know what you're saying, like a little bit more depth to who you are versus just somebody to look at.
Well, the way I see it is, people aren't stupid. I mean, like, if I say, hey, buy this water, and I have nothing to do with that water, but people are stupid. They know that water company is paying me.
Correct.
So if you have no credibility behind what you're saying, if people don't believe you, if you haven't been honest with your following, I mean, this is something that you've been doing for years now. I noticed like you don't really, I noticed that you don't really get into any of the drama. You kind of just, you've actually just quietly gone along and been a top 10 Olympian without really making a ton of noise.
Right.
So you just built this like really, really great career without getting into the drama and doing things that like just to get followers and stuff like that. It's all been like an honest career. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's what I've kind of, tried to hold that integrity through what I've done and not try to go in one way or another, or try to do something that would be extreme, or just, like you said, create drama in some way, or try to, get in an internet battle with somebody. Like it's not, but that same thing I think applies to you too. Like you've done a great job. Like what you put out there is real. And I've been a fan of you since you turned pro way back in the day. And I remember walking around the Arnold when you just turned pro, and I was with Justin Harris, and I came up to you. I'm like, man, congrats. This was back in Muscle Mayhem days when we were on that forum. But no, I really think that if people really, I think, are appreciating authenticity now and kind of being real, versus just like there's just so much fake shit out there, and it's just people, like you said, every little post are trying to promote something. Like, that's why I don't go out of my way or try to get what, you see people with a different company, like every month or every week they're posting some different protein shake or different tea or some shit they gotta drink. It's like what your fans are going to realize, like, you're just doing this to try to make, money off of us, and we're sick of it. Like, if you're posting with the same company, like you being with Cage and all that, and you're like, people are like, okay, like he obviously uses this stuff. He's been on a while. It's credible. So I believe it. If he says this is good, I'm going to give it a shot.
Yeah.
So
I think it goes to the way you carry yourself too. I mean, just I see you do Q&As too, and I do Q&As, and I think people know when you're giving them answers whether you're full of shit or not. But I want to ask you, so you managed to do all these things while still progressing as a bodybuilder. Is there ever been a time where you were like, I need to put this business stuff on the back burner, or put my firefighting? Well, obviously you put the firefighting on the back burner, but has there ever been a time where you just shut everything off? Because I see that you keep getting better and keep winning shows, but you're still doing all these other things at the same time.
Me personally, like, I'm not the kind of guy that can like just sit around and kind of do nothing and just like, I know the guys that go over to Kuwait and like just live that lifestyle. Like I get stir crazy. Like I'd be like, I need to go build something or do something or wax my car. I don't know. I need to do something. But like I like being busy, and I think it helps when I'm prepping. I stay so busy through the day that I don't even think about really eating and my food as much. If you're sitting, like, the times diets has ever struggled the worst is when I'm sitting at home on the couch, like literally like looking at the clock, be like, okay, I got to eat 30 minutes. And then it's like, okay, I'm going to focus on something else. And then 10 minutes later, like, fuck, it's 20 minutes till I got to eat again. And then it's torture. You're just literally torturing yourself.
I think
now, like I said, staying busy, it works for me.
I think that's probably my problem is I'm always sitting around. I'm the opposite of you. I will take whatever opportunity I can to just sit and do nothing.
Well, I'm enjoying the cooking with Fouad. I mean, I think the muscle chef here is something that we are on to something here.
The food is so shitty. You know what I mean? Have you ever seen?
But it's funny. It could be like literally like you could be making a peanut butter and jelly and be like, dude, like that's awesome. Like people love seeing that. And I've always enjoyed seeing food, even if somebody don't know what the hell they're doing. It looks like a terrible dish, but it's like, hey, that's cool. I like to see how they do it.
Well, this is the thing. I think the people that watch it appreciate it because I'm not trying to be Gordon Ramsay. I'm like, look, this is the shit I eat. This is how I got big. So, that's it. It's not like I'm not trying to pretend,
Exactly.
I want to ask you said something about not getting involved in the drama, but you were recently at the White House.
Yeah.
And you proudly went, and you were a Trump supporter. And so I want to ask you, do you get any backlash from that, from your support?
The thing is, I don't shove like politics down people's throats or necessarily always my beliefs, but I stand firm in my beliefs, and that's with my faith and what I believe in. And I don't always think like, everything on the political realm is always correct. I have, like, say the sides that I believe in, or that I say, okay, I stand for this because of this. Like, there's reasoning behind it. Like, if I seeing results, like seeing what our president is doing right now with the economy and bringing jobs and keeping our country safe and doing the things, like he's working hard. Like, I appreciate that. And I respect the authority. And if it was somebody else from the other side doing the same thing, I would be great. I'd be on board with that too. But I'm kind of a results driven person. If I see somebody doing something good and trying hard, I give my hats off to them.
So you're not really like a red team, blue team. You're more of a results team.
I'm a results team, but I'm a little bit more on I think, being in Texas, loving my guns, like I think people know, hey, he's a gun-loving Texan that drives a truck. I mean, that's kind of enough. That's 2 + 2 right there.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, listen, whether you're right or left or whatever, I personally don't care.
I don't either.
And I don't think people should. I think people get a little carried away when they're like, oh, that person's red and I'm blue and I can't talk to that person, or there's something wrong with him because of what he believes. I think that's a little crazy. I think,
it is.
Me and Evan had a pretty good political conversation on our podcast. And I had to actually block a couple people because they just got so angry that I said I leaned a little left. And I'm like, I didn't say I was like a crazy leftist. I just said I'm like in the center. But I think probably fiscally I'm a little left, socially I'm a little right.
Sure.
Or maybe vice versa. I don't know. But there's things I believe on one side and there's things I believe in the other. So I consider myself just a centrist, but people freaked out. So I had to actually block a couple of people because they don't know how to. Some people don't know how to just give their opinion without getting crazy.
A more emotionally responsive to like somebody's, say, taking a side or whatever, your opinion. Like I would have a dialogue any day with somebody, whether it's left or right, or somebody like, let me hear what you believe and I'll tell you what I believe. And then maybe we can come to a common ground, or maybe I can understand where you're coming from. And I can say, okay, I get where you're coming from and you're not crazy or whatever. Like, that to me, what it should be about, versus like, oh, you're left, well, you're crazy, or you're right, or you're a psycho. Like that's where it gets so that's where like the hate and all that shit just keeps getting worse and worse, because it just keeps getting driven by that, one side or another.
I know. I agree with you. So what was it like at the White House? Did they serve you guys Big Macs or no?
No, they didn't. It was actually, it was an absolutely incredible experience. To kind of say represent the bodybuilding world, to be there. They had people that were, singers, actors, political.
Why were you there, for people that don't know?
It was called the Social Media Summit. So the president brought together a lot of like big influencers out there that I guess would be a little bit more on his side. Like, he went down to everybody that would be totally against him, screaming at him in the middle of it.
Yeah, exactly.
But he wanted to have, because the biggest thing is, like, say, the social media outlets like Facebook and Twitter and Instagram that are censoring certain pages or restricting content or not allowing people to have freedom of speech. So there's really been kind of an attack on that right that we have. And I think his big thing is, how do we get an even playing field for everybody? If you're going to have rules or block somebody, then it's got to be both ways. So it was good to hear the discussion that was involved and kind of the talking points that he wants to do. And so he didn't really say exactly what he's going to do, but he's like, I'm working on a few things. I'm meeting with the executives from all these big corporations. And so it's been a really good, to see that he's very proactive in trying to, make things just stay going in the right direction.
Yeah. I actually have a question about that. Okay, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I'm just curious because I like talking about politics. So when you say,
but I don't do it a lot, but I enjoy it. I don't do it publicly a lot, but
I know. Okay.
Maybe on my personal Facebook page, but that's about it.
Yeah. So when it comes to free speech,
yes.
Like when I see them shouting down like Ben Shapiro, that bothers me, because I'm like, okay, Ben Shapiro, he might have some hard opinions, but some of them are good, and they're not inappropriate. They're just
correct.
They're just his opinions.
Yeah.
So where do you think a line is drawn on free speech? Is there one, or is it just like people should be able to say whatever they want?
That's where it gets a little bit, you hit in that gray area, because it's like, well, if it's freedom of speech, why can't I just say it? Well, like that's where almost like a moral compass should come in, or some kind of like, if you're talking about threatening, killing somebody, trying to, you know, incite violence for some reason just because of a difference of opinion, like there should be some kind of, I don't think if you go to Russia or China and you start talking, you want to shoot the president, like you're going to be in jail. Like that's just the way it is. Like,
okay, wait a minute. What if it's not? And I'm not trying to put you on the spot. I don't know the answer. I actually don't have my own. I don't really I haven't really formulated my own deep opinion on this, so I'm just kind of trying to feel it out.
Absolutely.
Okay, what about hate speech? Like what if like where does hate speech come into play? Is it still free speech if like you're being racist, like outwardly racist? I don't mean like kind of like dog whistle. I mean like outwardly, like flat out. Where is that still free or not? Like I'm confused about that.
I am kind of confused on it as well, because there's a lot of that going on right now, and you see people. Yeah, it's. I think it's because of social media, it's highlighted more. Yeah, I think, you know, back in the day, there's always been hate speech. There's always been racist people. There's always been, you know, extreme organizations on both sides. That's always been around, but it's being highlighted more and more now to kind of try to prove a point for either side. And it's getting a little bit crazy. So it definitely needs to be reeled in a little bit. Like, well, there's got to be some kind of, but I'm with you. It's a hard line to draw.
When I hear the term racist come out of a lefty's mouth, very often I feel like it's diminishing the word, because it's used too often.
Exactly.
I think it exists. I think I hear it sometimes. Yeah. But I feel like they use it so often that it's almost diminishing the effect of telling somebody they're being racist.
Very much so.
Yeah. And then on the right, I feel like they use racist words emotionally. It's like they're just trying to trigger, or if they get in an argument and they get angry. I feel like that's how I've heard it used from the right. But all I'm trying to say is, where would somebody say, okay, this is a law? Obviously, you can't say I want to kill the president. Right. Obviously, you can't say like I want to murder my wife or whatever. But like, what about like just like, let's say you say the N-word? Is that okay? Like that's, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? It's just, it's so dicey. Well, it's like,
I think that's the thing is somebody is free to say that is, but I think there is repercussions to that speech though. Yeah. You know, like you're free to, like, that's the thing is, you know, I kind of made a point the other day when I was watching the Democratic debates, and I saw, you know, they want to just everything they want free. They want free education, free healthcare. Well, who's going to pay for it? Somebody's got to pay for this shit, you know? And then I'm like, listen, nothing's free except the air we breathe and our own free will. Yeah. So God gives us our own free will to really do whatever we want, but there's going to be repercussions to what you're doing. Yeah. Okay, you know, whether you decide to eat, you know, Big Macs every day of your life, like you're going to have repercussions for that, or saying terrible things to somebody, there's going to be repercussions to that.
Somebody might punch you in the mouth if you say the wrong
thing. Exactly.
Okay, I want to actually push back on something you said. So this is something that always freaks me out, and I'm like, Canada is more socialist than America is. So I had this long debate with Seth and with Branch. And, they came to guest pose at one of my shows, and we basically talked politics for like 3 days straight.
I love it. You're talking to some staunch conservative guys.
Branch is like America. He's just America.
Yeah, I'm with them on that. So that's that Texas blood.
You know what was awesome about it though? It was, we were talking, and I felt like, and more so me than them, but I felt like I understood some of the stuff they were saying. Yeah. Because, like, I went into the conversation talking about guns and saying that you should be able to defend yourself, but what's wrong with having like an extra license for getting a bigger gun? You know, like when you're driving a car, you drive like a car, but if you want to drive a truck, you have to have a different license.
Correct.
So my point of view is like, okay, you should be able to have whatever gun you want, but you should be able to have to get the next license up for like a more powerful gun, right?
Sure.
And Branch's point of view is basically, we don't feel like, if we feel like we give them a little, we're going to end up 50 years from now giving more than we wanted to.
Correct.
And after talking, I mean, I'm really simplifying the conversation, but after about after about 45 minutes, I was like, yeah, I kind of get where the sentiment is coming from.
Right.
So it was just nice to be able to have this conversation. But I want to push back on one thing you said.
Yeah.
About everything's free.
Yes, bring it.
Because I love my free healthcare, right? I really like, it's free.
I know you do.
Like I tore my tricep. I walked into the fucking surgery the next day. They fixed it. I walked out. I was like,
but is that always the case? Like I've heard like with the system like that, there's power. Sometimes medical gets prioritized based on how severe it is, and you there's times where you cannot see a doctor for something, and it'll take a lot longer.
Okay, I'm going to give you full transparency.
Yes.
I'll give you the truth first, then I'll give you the real honest truth.
Yes.
So the truth is that some provinces are better than others. Like if you go to Saskatchewan,
sure,
the waiting times are much, much less. Their system just runs a little better.
Yeah.
In Ontario, apparently it's not that great.
Mm-hmm.
But our overall health levels are better. Like mortality rate, infancy death rate are better than most other countries. So even though we have wait times, our health levels are still better than most.
Yeah.
The real truth about my tricep was I have a friend of the family that knew the surgeon. So
No, that helps. That helps. That helps. Absolutely.
But I still walked out with no bill. You know what I mean?
Yeah, which is fantastic. But that's the thing too. I think that they play on people's being naive to certain facts or understandings. Like in our healthcare system, like anybody, say if I got injured and I don't have health insurance and I really can't afford anything, but I need to go to the emergency room, I'm going to be treated. And regardless if I can pay for it or not, they're going to treat me and take care of whatever issue I have going on.
Yeah.
So that's like already, that's established. But people think like, oh, if I don't have health care, I can't get treated if I'm having a heart attack, right? That's not the case. Like, you could pay $1 the rest, once a month, the rest of your life to try to pay it off, but at the end of the day, there is bills with it. Yes, with us. But I think our healthcare system could do better at kind of being more preventative versus just treating that cause with, say, a pill or something. Everything has gone to that. Like, instead of saying, your blood pressure's high, here's a pill. Like, hey, get on a treadmill, go lose some weight, and get your blood pressure right.
Well, I think that goes for North America as a whole. I think in Europe they do a better job of educating the kids at a very young age.
Yeah,
stay away from certain things. Like don't drink as much pop and don't do this and don't do that. But then that goes back to the culture of the U.S., which is don't tell me what to do.
I'm free to do whatever I want. So.
That's right. No, there was the healthcare thing. There is one thing I got to get you on that I think you will agree with me.
Yes.
The pharmaceutical companies.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Price gouge the public there a lot more than here. Like here we have here the prices on pharmaceuticals are set by the government. Yes. So the independent pharmaceutical companies can't just go, I'm going to raise levels of this and that and whatever.
Yeah.
It's actually just set by the government and they have to stay there. So, correct. And I feel like that's the one thing that I can't imagine anybody would say is better.
No, there's definitely, I think the pharmaceutical companies are a huge conglomerate in the United States. They have big control over a lot of things that go on just because of the amount of money that they have.
Yeah.
To make influence on whatever they're trying to influence. But to me, prices could definitely be better on prescriptions here. I think our president is trying to do something. They're trying to come up with a solution.
Yeah.
I think there was something just brought into legislation that they were kind of letting people go to Canada to get some of their prescription meds if they needed and making it legal versus trying to come across the border with medication illegally. So
but what they should do is just tell the pharmaceutical companies there, look, across the border they're paying a fraction of what we're paying here. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's
really... it is a little bit crazy. We have our own private health insurance that I give for my wife and I, and then and it's not the craziest, most expensive. There's a lot of things sometimes aren't covered prescription wise, but there's programs out there that, there's like the Good RX stuff that we have, that apps, and sometimes it's cheaper than what insurance would actually pay for on some medication. So there's ways to kind of make things work. But yeah, the healthcare thing is something that is, I mean, it's not like this just happened, where they're trying to figure out a solution to healthcare in the last year. This has been going on for a lot of years.
Oh, I know.
And
I
think it's both sides' fault. It's Democrat, Republican, that they could have had solutions drawn up a whole lot better and thought out, instead of trying to rush something in a matter of 6 months or a year, or so. Yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm in agreement with you, Fouad.
I'm gonna,
I said, a good dialogue we have here.
But you know what? But the bodybuilding culture as a whole is more conservative, so I'm gonna take a huge beating for this conversation. I'm just gonna.
But you have good points, and like I said, I could talk and understand that point, and I'm not like you're crazy and you're an idiot for saying that.
Yeah.
But you have real life experience in that, and I understand.
Yeah. I have a little bit. You're cutting it. You're back now, but I have a question that is one more that I don't know the answer to, and I wanted to ask you because of your political affiliation. So I'm curious.
Sure.
This one might trigger some people. So I'm gonna.
Okay.
So let's say you have a transgender bikini girl.
Yes.
Does she get to compete with the women?
Wow. Wow. So let me think about this. Transgender. So you have a dude that went female.
Yeah.
To compete in bikini.
Yeah. No, I'll make it even harder. Let's do this. You have a dude that transitioned to female, but he's competing in bodybuilding, in women's bodybuilding.
Yeah. I don't. To me personally, I don't think that's fair to allow. I don't. Like. I
don't either.
You see that I've seen like where there's high school instances where these guys are going into women's sports and they're crushing like these women. Like it's not fair, or like some guy goes into a female powerlifting event because he's saying that he wants to be a female. Like I'm not against somebody wanting to do that. It's your own choice. But I don't think that's an unfair thing. Like the male body is stronger than a female body. That's just biological fact,
Yeah.
But
I'm in the same boat as you are, and it especially bothers me in Canada. So we have a federation here called, I believe, and whoever is out there listening, forgive me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's called the CPA or the CPU.
Yeah.
And it's a strongman. It's a natural powerlifting division. And on their form, it says, like, you just have to fill out what you identify with. So you could go, but you don't have to like, look, like I could go in there like this and say, I identify as a female. And I can compete as a female.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, I just feel like it's a little like, I think we've gone a little crazy a little bit.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's gone a little bit crazy. I think there's nothing wrong with tolerance and allowing people to do whatever their free will wants them to do. But it's like, don't just, keep me out of it. Don't shove it down my throat that you want to do something or be a certain way. Like that's cool, whatever. But
well, it's not even about shoving it down my throat. It's like, why don't you just make it fair for the other women?
Exactly.
Like you have all these women that probably train their ass off to do these powerlifting meets, and then you have a guy walk in there and be like, "Fuck it, I'm just gonna fucking win because I can."
Yeah, I want a trophy today. You know what? Check that box.
Anyway, okay, we'll stop with the trigger stuff because I'm pretty sure we're both probably gonna get hate mail for that one, but whatever.
But hey, I think that's just where we stand on our points, and we made a point on it. I'm not trying to say, I'm not standing against that person's choice, but I just think it's on a keeping things on a fair level. That's why there's weight classes in bodybuilding. That's why there's men and women's sports. It's because of they don't cross. I mean, if a woman was to go into NFL and play center, she would get killed. Like that's just fact.
I think this is one where we both are on the same.
I think a lot of people on a logical sense would understand. I think and would probably agree with that.
Yeah. I want to turn subjects a little bit to the Olympia.
Yeah.
Are you getting ready for the Olympia right now?
I sure am, man. We're 5 weeks today.
Are you? What'd you place last year? Were you top 10?
I got 10th last year. Yeah.
Okay, so you've been in the top 10 a few times now, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where do you see yourself this year? It feels like it's a little bit wide open, but
Yeah.
we got some strong people coming on with like
Sure.
Brandon looks good. Rolly's most recent picture looks like a fucking alien, but
yeah, that's always, but that's to be expected. The Rolly, like 5 week, 6 week out picture that's in the magic mirror.
The magic mirror, yeah.
that you're like, what in the world? But I always sometimes have to tune that kind of stuff out, and I just say, you know what really matters is how everybody looks on the day of the show. And you know that, like, somebody could look insane 6 weeks out and totally F up their last 3 days of a prep and look like total shit. So
100%. So where do you see, do you think about placings, or do you just say, look, I'm just going to come in my best, or do you have an idea of where you want to sit?
Yeah, I'd say the first few years I did Olympia, I was a little bit like, hey, where I land is where I land, and I'm just going to bring my best, that kind of mentality. But now after doing it several times, I'm like, I'm coming there, I'm training to win. And, I don't expect anything else. Like, you have to have that mentality if you really want to get in that top, the top call out.
Yeah.
If you want to be in the mix to be a top 5 guy, top 6 guy. Yep. To me, this show is kind of mirroring what the, last couple of Arnolds have been.
Yeah.
So I really think the opportunity is there, and for me to get in that top 5, absolutely.
So I have a little bit of a touchy question to ask you.
Yes, sir.
I feel like you don't get enough praise when they're talking about that top 5, top 6. Does that bother you, or do you like being an underdog and walking in?
I don't mind. I don't mind being the underdog, or somebody that's kind of like the dark horse that we forgot to mention him, or But you have your front runners. You got the guys that have been there the last few years that have been in the top 3 or 5. That is, I get that. Yeah. But I know my name's gotten thrown in the mix a little bit, but I just I think you would be under the same thing. It's just like, what, let's put our blinders on. Let's just focus on what we can do.
Yeah.
Like, it's not, I don't have control of anybody else doing the show.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I have control of one thing, and that's myself. So if I really just put my focus and effort into what I can do and know what I can do and be confident in what I can do, it'll show on stage.
I actually personally did worse when they were praising me. Like when
there's that pressure. The pressure does come.
But people don't get it. They think the shine is good. The shine's not always good. Like there was probably age 31, 32 for me.
Yeah.
When people were like, oh, because I think I placed 3rd at the Flex Pro one year, and people were like, this guy's gonna be great. And I got a Weider contract, and I started getting more praise. And those were my worst years.
Yeah.
My best years came actually after that, when people gave up on me.
Yeah.
I started to kind of relax and just like do my thing.
No, I get it. Like, say going into Olympia or Arnold, you don't have as much, say, pressure, because if you're not talked about as, say, the pressure that Phil Heath has gotten the last, every year he carries a title, like, that's a lot of pressure. Like, but even like, say, going into Indy this year, being the favorite, I go into that show. I won it last year, went into this year. And I'm like, even though I'm a little bit more relaxed coming off a show and I feel good where I'm at, like, I got this pressure of like, I better win this show because I won it last year. Like,
that's right.
So there is a little bit different nerve factor that plays in there.
Yeah.
And like, there is a kind of an underlying pressure that you feel, but it's at the same time, there's the positive you could take from it too, is like, there's that confidence to be like, you know what, I'm the guy they got to beat, so I'm gonna bust my ass and I'm gonna show them what's up.
Yeah, well, the positive is also if you can channel that pressure. If you can learn to channel that pressure, you can, like, I used to be able to at one point, like early on in my career, when people thought I was going to win the nationals or whatever, I used to be able to like hone that pressure into like better effort. Right. And then I think on the pro level, I think maybe because money was involved or contracts were involved.
Correct.
Yeah, it got to me a little bit. And then as I got older, it became not a big deal. I stopped focusing on it completely.
Yeah.
You mentioned Phil Heath. I want to ask you, do you think Phil Heath gets kind of the raw deal? Because he's probably the first Mr. Olympia to really have to deal with social media. And I feel like people are always like, well, Phil's this and Phil's that. But I think, I think it's got to be hard being Mr. Olympia when you have all the haters.
Yeah. Well, everybody, I think in any sport, no matter if it's football, hockey, baseball, like people are going to have their favorites and they're going to go against whoever, but and at the same time, people like to see the champs go down. Like New England Patriots, Tom Brady, everybody's like, they're probably going to win and they're an amazing team, but everybody's like, F them. I hate Tom Brady. It's like, well, why do you hate him? Like, he's amazing. He's an amazing athlete. But,
yeah, no, I understand that. But I think what I'm saying is like, okay, everybody felt that way about Ronnie.
No,
but I think with Phil, because he's the first social media Mr. Olympia. Do you think he dealt with more people's shit?
Well, I think so, yes, but Phil brings some shit on himself too. Like he lets shit get underneath his skin when he shouldn't, and he, sometimes you just gotta let stuff roll off your back and be like, whatever. Yeah. Like people can have their opinions, and I know you get messages and people commenting your stuff like, "Oh, you're nothing but a roid head. You're an idiot." Like there's stupid shit, But Phil would respond to that, and it would create like a lot of bad back and forth, and then it's like it kind of looks bad, but. I think if you're the champ, you got the crown, there's a lot of responsibility that comes with that too, that you have to, I think if you hold yourself, with integrity and class and you come out, being a good positive influence, like you try to make it to where somebody could really not say anything bad about it. That's kind of the way I tried to hold my career. Like try not to do anything that somebody could say like, oh, he's an idiot because of this, So
yeah, that's true. Actually, you have kind of followed that path on your career. I don't ever hear anybody throw fucking shade on you or anything like that. It's kind of like you're always just right there. You're just living happy.
Stay.
Yeah,
that's the way you try to do it.
All right, tell me about your wife. Everybody knows you have a hot wife.
Yes.
Everybody knows you guys love each other like crazy because I see all the
photos. Yeah.
How long you been married?
We actually got 5 years coming up, man. I just can't believe it's been that long, quick.
5 years married. How long together?
We almost got married right away when we got together. So it was like there was no real dating time. It was just we knew like God put us together. We knew this was it. And let's just it's been amazing because when there's that court time and you're trying to date somebody and then you get engaged and there's probably a few years in that time and you're doing a lot of things together. Then you get married and you're like, well, what else do we do? But everything we've got to experience as husband and wife.
Yeah.
And it's been just an amazing to do that and appreciate that and to, go through life and have these experiences of traveling, going around the world together and as husband and wife. It puts a whole new level of, enjoyment and favor on the things we do.
For those of you who don't know, Steve is married to Amanda Latona. I feel like she put her career on the back burner. Was that for you, or was she just ready to retire?
When we met, she was at the end of her career. She was getting ready to actually move to LA and be into TV and do some hosting and that kind of stuff. But I dragged her back to Dallas with me, and we pursued other ventures here. And I love Texas. I love Dallas, where we live. But if people would think that she gave up competing for me, that really wasn't the case. She was, she was competing for close to 10 years, and as a woman's career, she was, uber successful. Has won, over 10 IBB titles and a top 5 Olympian, and just absolutely amazing career. So it's like you could still compete, but then it's like it's that point of diminishing returns. Like, are you going to just compete to compete, maybe start placing worse and not look as good, or do you take what you've done and try to expand on that into that's what we've done. She's still so involved in the industry. She's an all-max athlete with me. She's running the Booty Queen apparel and really helping women all around the world with what she's putting out there.
I never meant to imply that she retired for you. I just wasn't sure.
I just clear the air on that.
Yeah. So what businesses you have? You have she has the Booty Queen. You have the t-shirt line.
Yeah, what we do. It kind of got started with the t-shirt stuff I did with some King Snake, and then we started Booty Queen apparel from that because I was like, well, I kind of know what to do, so let's give this a shot and start with a few things, and then it just kind of expanded from there. Yeah. I put some of my stuff on the back burner because you know how it is, man. Like, you're really not going to make a huge living off selling T-shirts. Like, you got to sell a lot of T-shirts to be putting a roof over your head.
Unless you're Seth Ferosi, then you're doing fine.
Exactly. Yeah. So, but guys are a little different too. Like, guys will buy in person, and guys will wear the same T-shirts since high school. But women, they want a new pair of leggings every day, and they want to look good all the time. And so I was like, let's go with that, because you have a great style, and she was always, whatever she wore, women wanted to wear too. So I was like, well, let's make some stuff that you want to wear that, you could promote and sell to other women.
Yeah.
We have her company that we run on a daily basis, and that's a lot of work because there's a lot of employees. We have a store here in Dallas that an actual retail store on top of the online store. And then we have our own bodybuilding show here, like we got in Texas. And then, being athletes for All Max, traveling a lot with them. And so that's a pretty full schedule there.
Okay. So let me ask you the $1 million question. How do you keep a happy marriage when you basically do everything together? You have a business together, you run the show together, you work out together, is it hard for you? Is there times when you're like, it's too much, or is it just smooth all the time?
It's smooth all the time. And I'm not saying that to be like, oh, I'm just saying the right things. Like, really, not only do we love each other as husband and wife, but we really like each other too. Yeah. Like, I really enjoy spending, like, she's my best friend, and I enjoy spending all the time with her. Like, if she's somewhere, like, I want to be wherever she's at. Like, and it's vice versa. Like, if I'm in the office, she wants to come and hang out in the office with me just because we just like being around each other. Yeah. So we have that kind of relationship where it doesn't get, to where you feel like I need a guy's night just to get away kind of thing. We have some friends with, that have great marriages too. So when we go out as couples, and it's not like we need a separation time. Yeah. Yeah. But we do have a good balance. She understands the lifestyle, which helps. Like, she understands, hey, if I'm really tired and I don't feel like going out or doing anything, she's like, cool, we'll stay home. We'll hang out on the couch. And sometimes the couch is a vacation for us when we're traveling a lot. And you're like, dude, when I'm home, that's my vacation.
Yeah.
So
do you think, okay, so some of the DMs I get from people are, my wife's driving me crazy, or my girlfriend's driving me crazy because we're both dieting for a show, and it's like, it's too much in the house. Yeah. Do you think that everybody has an Amanda out there, or do you think you guys just got lucky because your personalities, like, do you think the guy that has like the shit girlfriend that like he fights with all the time about the gym or whatever, do you think that guy has somebody else out there that is probably more?
I think he does, and I think that a lot of it is the person that you kind of develop to be. And we both, as you age, you're different than you were when you were 25. Oh, yeah. And when you were 30, just the way you've matured and handled situations and not let things get to you. And you learn, like, in our relationship, there's no, like, I'm never not right and she's never not right. Like, I'm not that person, like, I'm right, you're wrong, like, screw you, and I don't want to talk to you. Like, if I'm wrong, like, babe, I'm wrong, I'm sorry. She's like, okay, I forgive you, no problem. And one of the most amazing things about my wife, that if she's kind of going through, say, that time of the month, she's a little bit moody or whatever, she'll call herself on it. So she'll be like 2 minutes later, after, she'll just feel like she'll have like a little attitude, and not really toward me, just in general. And she'll be like, I'm sorry, I'm kind of grumpy today. And I'll be like, God, I love you. Like, like, not a lot of people would do that. Like, call herself on their own shit.
No, this relationship sounds fake. I think you're lying about all this.
It really, a lot of people, it does sound like I'm pulling your leg, but that's not the case.
No, man, that's, you know what? It's awesome. I am still the guy that wants to be right all the time. And
I've learned that, through relationship, that if you're a guy and you think you're going to be right and you're married or got a girlfriend, just let them be right.
I know, man. I know. It's like
you're not going to win that one.
I've been with Summer for 12 years now.
Wow.
And I'm fucking hanging on every day to every last little shred of rightness that I have. But they're just slipping away. Every day it slips away a little bit more. Yeah. But I'm starting to realize that you're right, man. You just got to, like.
Yeah, you know what? You leave the ego at the door. Like, we're both not ego people. And, not to say, like, that one of the best things that I heard, from actually our pastor that mentioned this one time, is he said, a marriage is 2 deaths and 1 resurrection. And he's like, the old person you were needs to die, and you need to come together as one and kind of form into one person, and really we've done that without really thinking a whole lot about it.
Yeah.
And, old ways, old habits and whatever, you have to, you're living to, like, I'm a very giving person. She's a very, like, we speak each other's love language to a T. Like, I love affection, and I love, just time with her. And she, and that's what she gives me, and vice versa. Like,
I find it interesting that you said that, because some people see it differently, but I feel like those people are the ones that have the most trouble. Like, I'll give you an example. So you said that your pastor told you that, the old you dies and you come together as one.
Yeah.
But the common theory, or the common thought process, is that you have to remain individual, and that you shouldn't be one, because you should both be individuals and together.
That's that modern day kind of thinking, be independent, don't be yourself. Don't let nobody, you don't depend on anybody, but marriage is a dependency on one another.
So you don't mind, and I'm asking you this wholeheartedly, I'm not disagreeing with you in any way. You don't mind saying, you know what, I'm half and she's half, and together we're fucking really happy. Because a lot of
absolutely.
Yeah, because a lot of people think that that's not a lot of people, but I've heard more in modern times that that's wrong, that I should be me and she should be her, and we should have a relationship together. Nobody really says my half and her half fit together to make one.
Yeah.
Even though you seem to be making it work perfectly that way.
Mm-hmm. No, I get it. We both have a little bit of old school mentality in our relationship. Like, she lets me be the man of the house and be the leader of our family, and she's a submissive wife, not in a misogynistic way.
Don't say,
not like,
don't say submissive,
but not in a crazy sexual way either. I'm just saying.
No, I mean, just because, like, there's some women are going to freak out, even though
I know that, but
I know what you mean.
I'm explaining that, like, listen, if she says something, I'm listening. And when she puts her foot down, I'm listening. But at the same time, like, that's where that level of respect comes in. If she's like, no, we need to think about this decision, or we're not going to buy this car because it's impulse, like, she's very, wise in that way. And I don't fight her on that, and vice versa. If I say, babe, we're not going to do this right now, and she's like, okay, that's good. But we have that good dialogue where there's not, like I said, there's no ego there. And we have that, she lets me be the man of the house and to take care of things. And she's the woman of the house and takes care of things too.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean. When I had a conversation with Brandon, we did a podcast together, Brandon Curry. And he said the best thing ever. He said, look, people want to say there's no roles, but there's roles. Yeah. And me and my wife, we know our role. She knows my role. I know her role. And we don't change lanes. We just have our roles. Correct. And that's how. So I do understand what you're saying. I was just fucking with you, but
no, but you know that there's going to be the you pig.
Yeah. No, but you meant it. I think you meant it in the most loving way, and I think submissive is just taken in a negative context. But I know exactly what you meant by saying it. Yeah. Okay, let me ask you this: who cooks in the house?
I'm actually more the cook. Actually, I get it from my dad's a chef. My mom is like chef number 2. She's actually a hairdresser, but she loves she's the chef during holidays, and my mom is an amazing chef. So I kind of picked up from that over the years, and I don't mind it. I enjoy cooking. My wife will cook for me if I ask her, but I'm kind of the man of the grill. I love grilling. I like you. It's so you know how you like your food good.
So when you're watching my food videos, you're critiquing them as a chef.
No. I enjoy. Again, I'm a fan of the Fouad cooking channel.
Yeah. So okay, so you, because I do the cooking in my house too. My wife doesn't cook. My wife doesn't cook anything. If I ask her to make me something, she will. But it's usually me doing all the cooking. It's just the way it is. But I think for me, it's more because as bodybuilders, this is the way I started 20 years ago.
Correct. You didn't depend on your mom making you your food for every meal. You're like, shit, I got to eat 6 times a day. I better learn how to cook.
That's right. Even though I didn't learn very well, I learned. So All right, let me ask you. I don't want to keep you forever. We've been on for a while, but let me ask you some.
No, it's been really good, man. We could do part 2.
Yeah, I'll have you back on for sure. But let me ask you some quick hitter bodybuilding questions, because at the end of the day, there's those people out there that want to hear kind of the X's and O's of things.
Yeah.
So let's start with the most important one, because I want to take away the nonsense YouTube people. So I just want to ask you one quick question. I kind of ask everybody.
Yeah.
What is the average? And we're talking about gear a little bit, because I know people all want to hear about it. So that's all they think we talk about. But what is like the average usage of testosterone for guys on our level or guys our size? What do you think is like a normal number?
Can I reverse that question? Ask you that, and I'm going to give you my answer on that.
Yeah, my answer is usually anywhere from I'll just tell you my personal. You don't have to do that, but my personal is, my best results came from 1250 to 1500. That's kind of the 1500 is the max. Tried to go over that. It didn't feel good, didn't look good, didn't do anything for me.
Yeah.
And even 15 is a little too much. 1250 is really like the best spot for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's also, just so people listening understand, that's also based on 20 years of lifting. Right. And it's also based on size and, how long you've been using something, how much you used, how often you did it, blah, blah, blah. So the 20-year-old kid out there that's listening, you're not starting at 1250. You're starting at 250 or 500 or something. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
Evan said it best in our podcast. Evan said, look, if you start with 500 and you don't get anything, you're doing something wrong, or this sport's not for you.
Or you got the wrong stuff. or got some shit or you got some like homebrew stuff that you shouldn't be trying.
That's always a possibility. So where do you stand on this kind of thing? I just want to get it.
I'm with you on that. I think there is a misconception with the amount that you hear guys do and take, or that the general public thinks. That I think the biggest thing that plays a factor, and I think you'll agree with me on this, is genetics. So I don't care how many drugs you take, and I don't care how much test you take. If you got shitty genetics, or you only made to be 170 pounds, you're only going to be 170 pounds.
Yeah, I agree.
But the supplements, I think, are on the ladder, probably like the third rung. That's probably the most important, and being training and nutrition above that.
Yeah.
But on the test level wise, like anytime that I've done like HRT dose, that's kind of been my favorite, because I feel really good.
Yeah.
I feel healthy. I don't feel like I'm taxed.
Yeah.
My body holds onto its muscle. I'm my sex drive's great. I'm not there's the problem is when you start getting that high is that like all the side effects that come with it. You're shutting down your natural levels. You start messing with estrogen. You start playing almost God with your body, and then it's like a domino effect from there.
Yeah.
So less is more guy. I like to think, and that's to me how I feel like I've been able to do it so long. Like you learn kind of how to think longevity over, like, I just want to get as big as I can, as fast as I can.
Yeah, but
I think a lot of young guys have that mentality.
But I think even if you want to this is what I'm saying, is this is the common misconception, is even if you want to get as big as you can, as fast as you can, there's only so much speed. Like, you can only get there so fast. It doesn't matter if you do 3,000 milligrams of test, you're just going to get turned into a watery mess. You're probably going to get gyno and a ton of acne. You're not going to get any bigger, any faster than the guy who's doing 1,000 or 1,500. It's not
right.
It doesn't work that way. That's the thing that I think a lot of these guys don't realize, is they think, well, if that guy did 1,000, if I do 2,000, I'll grow twice as fast. And it's not the fucking case.
No, and I couldn't even imagine because I know there's some people that probably do 2 or 3 grams of test a weekend. I couldn't imagine even the feeling I would feel on that. It would be probably terrible.
I don't know anybody who does 2, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I know, and I'm being dead serious.
I bet you there's some guys online that say, "Oh, Rich Piana said I could do up to 2 grams, and are trying 2 grams."
Yeah, no, and that's exactly why I'm doing this podcast, is so we can go, hey, wait a minute, we're the biggest guys on the planet. Like, there's as a whole, I mean, open body, I mean, me and you, I mean, open bodybuilders are the most muscular people around, and this is what we're doing. So don't let Joe Blow tell you what we're doing. We're telling you what we're doing.
Correct.
So that's kind of what the point is, right?
No, absolutely. And to me, like anytime that I've recommended that would tell a client or somebody, it would be no more than probably 1,000, and usually they're between that 500 and 1,000 range. And in the fact of how much of it are you actually utilizing, and how much is your body actually using versus just trying to get rid of and then taxing your body extra for
Well, I'll give people a cautionary tale. Because I went up too high too fast, I think that's why your comfortable dose is lower than mine. Mm-hmm. Because I think I went to 1,500 too early.
Yeah.
And as you can see, it didn't help me get any bigger than you are. So this is a perfect example of like genetics and everything else that goes with it, right? So I think I could have been happier with that, because I tried that last year. I'm like, you know what, I'm going to do like 750 a week and just see how that feels. And it just wasn't good for me because I had already been to this other place for too long. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying as a cautionary tale, is the longer you can stay at that lower place, the lower dose.
Absolutely.
The more longevity and the healthier you're going to be when you're into your 30s or 40s or whatever, and the longer you can do it for. So that's kind of the whole point of what I'm trying to get across to people.
Yeah. No, you hear horror stories of these, especially trainers that are, like you said, Joe Blow in the gym that's did one show and then all of a sudden is an expert and now telling people what they need to do.
Yeah.
And then you see this piece of paper or text that they have, and it's like, like you said, it's outrageous amounts of stuff. A gram of tren, 1 to 2 grams of test,
a gram of tren.
I'm like, dude, like, you're not only gonna feel like shit, but like that's just I don't know where there's room to stick all that shit.
Dude, if I did a gram of tren, I would never sleep again. It fucks my sleep so badly, even and I haven't approached that dose, but if I ever did, it would fuck my sleep. I'd probably be angry all the time. It was just like,
I actually have a funny story on that. Guy I know from the gym, he is a huge tren fan, and he came up to me and he started bragging on his tren use.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, like, well, what are you talking about? Like, give me an example of, because he's just like, man, I bumped it up. And I'm like, well, what's your bumping up, So he used to tell me he was doing like 600, then it was 800. Then he hit over the 1,000 mark. And he said, so then he's like, man, I feel great. And he goes, yeah, I sweat and I smell like cat piss. And that's what I know it's working. And I said, that's not meaning it's working. That means your organs are screaming and they're saying F you, like, what are you doing?
That means you're toxic as fuck and you need to stop immediately.
So if you ever smell like cat piss, your sweat, just it's not good.
Holy shit, man. I don't know what's wrong with guys. It just it's I don't know. Like I said, most guys that are listening are probably going to learn things the hard way, but hopefully we can get to some people and be like, look, this is the reality of it. Let's turn the page a bit to training. I just want to touch on a couple things. Your training is insane, and I don't think you post enough of it on social media for people to realize you don't really do any of the fancy stuff. Your training is all pretty hardcore, and it's like, you're not really known as the hardcore guy, but it's just because you don't carry yourself that way. But like, you're squatting 5 plates, you're benching 4 plates, like you're doing like hardcore fucking workouts.
I think that's kind of it's what I built my base on, and what has worked for me over the years. I've kind of I tried to go away just to see away from it a little bit, and just I'm going to try some of just the volume route, and it didn't quite create the same look for me. Yeah. So to me, it's finding that combo of training volume wise with the weight with it. That has, it's kind of just like that white dude body that needs to just beat the shit out of it. And I can't go in there and do like 30-pound curls like Phil and Dexter and just look insane. Like I need to put some stimulus on it and make the shit work.
I think I have a personal theory, and I don't have any science to back it up, so I'll leave that to the science guys. My personal belief is, however you built your muscle, that's the way you have to keep training.
I'm with you on that, dude. I think that I think there's a lot of gray area of science that bodybuilding probably discovered, but they'll refuse to accept it as true study because it's bodybuilding. But
we're
bodybuilding has discovered a lot of things of what the body actually can do that the textbooks don't really have info on.
That's right. No, but I feel like if you started training like Phil or Dexter, I'm not saying that in a derogatory way. It's not that they train, but they don't train. They're not lifting like max poundages.
Right.
But if you started training in that manner to begin with, do you think, first of all, you could have gotten this big? And if you could have, do you think you would go back and do it all over again?
I don't think so. I think this is what works for me. And I think that it's what I had to do. I really didn't know better. It's funny, when I was training with Justin Harris, he would always say, like, this is not a good word. I'm just trying to saying this, but he goes, "You got retard strength," and I'm like, I'm just saying this like it's an expression that was used.
I'm gonna beep it out. I'll beep it out.
But he would say it, and I'm like, or he like old man strength. He's like, "You're a kid, and you have this strength that is not even." Yeah. You don't even know how strong you are. And I didn't. I just kept up with him. I was 18. It completely natural. All I did was take, I think it was Celtec at the time. Yeah. That was what you took back in the day, Gakic and Celtec, and you were 427% stronger every workout.
Yeah. Do you think, it's interesting. And I remember seeing those videos and I was like, man, I thought I was fucking strong. And then I would see you squatting 5 plates or 6 plates or whatever, deadlifting fucking 6 or 7 plates. Do you think, how much of it is mental, do you think? Because I know you were training with Justin, and Justin's strong as fuck.
Yeah.
And I think it's something triggers when you're trying to keep up with somebody.
It does. Having a good training partner, I think, is key to a lot of success in the gym.
But I don't mean just having a strong, like I was always as strong or stronger than my training partners.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I feel like, do you think if Justin wasn't as strong as he was, you still would have been able to pick up that weight? Or do you think it was like I got to keep up with him, so I better do it?
I think it was I got to keep up with him kind of mentality, because if it was, if I trained with somebody that was, always say just had a little bit of a sandbag attitude, or was like, I don't feel like going 4 plates today. I'm just going to go 3 because that's how I feel. And sometimes the thought that you have is, okay, I'll just do 3 too. Like, that's just normal. But he would always put another plate. And I'm like, shit, okay, I don't know any better. Let's do it.
All right. So let me ask you this, a couple more things. I want to ask you about food. What is my system? Like, my system in the off season is high fat. I don't feel like I can get full properly without adding some healthy fats like avocado or peanut butter or something into my diet. Right. Do you add a lot of healthy fats, or are you basically a carb and protein guy?
I started doing a lot more fats the last few years just to seeing the benefits of them. I've always been just like protein carb through my career, and then starting to add more fats and seeing the benefits of them, seeing the way they help your body, not only, process hormones and just kind of the overall health aspect to it.
Yeah.
So I definitely added a lot more fat, and it comes from like adding a lot more red meat in the off season. Yeah. Adding more, say, nuts or healthy oils into foods and stuff like that. Yeah. Definitely plays a role in my off season, especially to get the calories in.
I found that I have to reduce my carbs a little bit when I'm in the off season, but even though I reduce my carbs, I'm still eating a ton of food because of all the fats. So do you find that you have to reduce your carbs, or are you just keeping everything really high?
That point you hit during your off season where you're like, I don't want to eat any more food. Like, this sucks. So I usually got a good 4 to 8 weeks post show where I'm like, dude, I could eat my ass off, and there's nothing. Like, I'll eat my arm and this table, and I'll still go.
Yeah.
But after that, you're like, dude, like, just the thought of a chicken breast is I can't do it. So then that's where it gets hard. I think that's what separates pros from amateurs, and that's what separates guys in the sport, is being able to push through that can't eat excuse.
Yeah.
And that's probably the biggest thing to overcome. And for me, off season wise, I try to eat as much as I can. There's times where I do struggle, and but I'll have to throw in junk food to kind of do it. I'll get some fast food, or if I only eat 4 or 5 meals a day, I'm going to make those meals a lot more calorie dense.
Yeah, I do that too. So what? So I always thought that was a bad thing to do, but the more people I talk to, the more I realize that other guys are doing the same thing. Because when my appetite is the same thing. There's a point where I have to go from 6 meals to 5 meals because I just can't get in the 6th one. I need a longer break between meals.
Right.
And my 5th meal is usually something a little heavier. Like I'll do 5 guys or something like that.
Yeah.
Like 3 or 4 times a week.
Mm-hmm.
So, but what, I'm glad you brought that up because I get a lot of DMs from people that are like, oh, I can't eat. I don't know what to do. And I'm like, none of us can eat. Like that's not like you're not like we're not special human beings. Like we hit the same appetite wall that everybody else does.
Right.
You just I got a message from a guy. He's like, I'm just really uncomfortable when I eat. And I'm like, welcome to the fucking club.
No shit.
That's not, nobody's eating 5,000 or 6,000 calories a day and feels like happy.
No, they're like, oh, I'm bloated. I'm like, yeah, you're going to feel like you've got a Thanksgiving dinner in your stomach every freaking meal.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly how it is. And I think it's great. It's crazy that these guys think because it's the off season, they should just feel happy. And I'm like, it don't work that way.
No, that's kind of like, it's kind of funny because I sometimes look forward to that dieting where I'm like, I look forward to actually eating less. And I look forward to feeling like just your body just processing stuff a lot smoother and you feel good. And you're like, man, I'm not sluggish and be like, oh, guys, want to sleep because that's all, after you eat these big meals, all you want to do, your body's like, I need to process this. So, quit running around and sit down and sleep.
I tell people all the time, the only happy times in a bodybuilder's life is the 4 weeks, from 8 to 4 weeks on the diet when they're prepping, because you're not too hungry, but you're still getting in some food. And then post show for 4 weeks. Because you're smashing a ton of food and your appetite's still good.
And you're still lean as hell.
Yeah,
and you're still lean as hell and you look good.
Yeah, that's right.
You're like, this is awesome. And then all of a sudden reality sets in and you're like, asshole, nice try.
The other 44 weeks out of the fucking year are just horrible. You're either starving or you're fucking really full and uncomfortable and there's no like happy medium.
And when you think of that, like when you put it in that context, like the overall lifestyle of a bodybuilder, like people gotta think you're nuts for that. Like what the hell's wrong with you? You're demented to want to suffer like that, want to feel like that. Like that's what I tell people. Like being, you have to. We're in a sport of being uncomfortable. Our sport is about sacrifice and really punishing ourselves for. You have to enjoy self-punishment.
Yeah, no, it's true, and that's why like sometimes people are like bodybuilding's hard, and then you'll get these guys online who'll be like, oh, you guys aren't rocket scientists, man, it's not that hard, just relax. And I'm like, okay, the bodybuilding part where you lift the weights is not hard, but the uncomfortableness and the discipline and just doing the same fucking thing every day, that's the hard part, because a lot of people don't want to do that shit every single day. They might feel uncomfortable one day, and then they may take 3 days off after that. And that's why you see guys that are like middleweights for like 10 years running, because they just don't want to put in that extra effort it takes. Yeah. So anyway, I'm glad I had you on. We had a lot of, I think we opened a lot of people's eyes to a few things that they don't normally hear bodybuilders talking about. And that's why I really wanted to have you on. I knew you would give me like the straight scoop on like the food, the food and the politics and the whole bit. So I'm happy you came on. But
I like that.
You have the Olympia in how many weeks?
5 weeks from today, man. I'm excited. Like you said, it's an 8 to 4 week period where I'm really starting to see the changes and body's starting to come in. But I know the next 4 weeks we're about to go to war, and the suck is about to happen.
Yeah,
that's the suck.
And that's why I wanted to get you on now, because I know in the next couple of weeks you're not gonna want to have these conversations. So I got you on.
They're few and far between, where even like when you get a phone call, and if my wife's probably the only one that I'll answer on a regular, but if it's like somebody, I'm like, I'll have to call them back later. Like even a text, you're like, that takes too much effort.
I know. Are your friends like mine? They kind of like, they know if I'm dieting, they're like, he's probably not going to answer. They don't like blame me for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they understand and they support me totally. So it makes it easy where they don't come down and be like, this guy's a jerk. I don't, know what? He's not my friend. Like, they get it. They're like, dude, this is his thing. You know what? We're not going to beg him to go out. We're not going to, ask him to dinner every weekend. Like he wants to come out. They know we're out.
That's right. Yeah. So let me ask you before you go, is there anything any message you want to put out there? Anything you want to plug? Anything you want to say before you go?
Well, I think number one, thank you for having me on, Fouad. I think what you're doing is awesome. Great podcast. I think you having a relationship with all the guys and being one of the pros, it makes it. There's a lot more normal, easy conversation that we have, and the history of the guys, obviously competing with them, and so I think this is super cool what you're doing.
Thank you, man.
So yeah, no, I'm excited. I think the people in the sport is excited this year, especially with Olympia. You're going to have a new champ, crowned, and I'm excited to be a part of that. And I think it's going to be a good year for the sport. It's going in a good direction, and we just have to keep that, get some positive light on what's going on. There's been a lot of negative shit, so we need to keep the good stuff going for what we're doing in the sport we love.
Yeah. Are you going to come on after the Olympia and discuss your placing
with you?
But wait a minute. Even if you're if you win, are you still going to come on?
Well, I might have to charge you then.
You know who said that to me?
Of course I'll come on.
Who said that? I laughed my fucking ass off. Me and Roman Fritz, for those of you who don't know, we text back and forth sometimes.
Yeah. And
I keep trying to get him on the show, and he's more of like a shy person. So he's like, I don't know. People don't want to hear what I have to say. I'm like, trust me, they do, man. You're like peeled fucking 24/7.
Right.
So he goes, you know what? I'm going to wait till I do Indy and I win. Then I'll charge you. Because I think he's get ready for Indy next year. So anyway, I'd like to have you on after the Olympia, man. We can discuss things and see what's going on.
That'd be fantastic, man. Yeah, would love to. No, but great stuff, brother. I appreciate you having me on, and all the fans of not only you, not only me, but of the sport we sacrifice our normalcy of life for. Yeah. I think it's awesome. We love you guys.
All right, man. Thank you very much for coming on, Steve. And I will send you a message soon to have you on again after the O, and we can talk some more.
Absolutely, brother. Thank you, man.
Thank you very much, man.
All right. Talk to you.